Welcome back to the Lifetimes Podcast with your host, Lloyd Phillips. And Leighton.
I'm Leighton Rowan.
Yeah, Leighton. I thought you would do it yourself.
Yeah, I was going to, but I overlapped you at one point.
Yeah. So today, listen, this is a very simple show. Let me go somewhere with this. So last week, somebody sends me a picture, and it's of a guy with long hair, and he's wearing wrestling trunks. Wrestling. Yeah, he's wearing wrestling trunks. Pro wrestling, not like the singlet. And he's like, "Hey, is this your cousin?" I'm like, "It is." Like, where'd you get that? And apparently, he's wrestling. Real backstory. I'm just gonna hit this real quick. When I used to have an office in Davenport, Iowa, my cousin was in this wrestling school. Seth Rollins, I guess, has a wrestling school there.
Seth freaking Rollins.
Yeah. I don't know who that is, but he's on the WWE, I guess. And so he's at his wrestling school, but COVID hit. I believe the school got canceled, and that was pretty much it. Like, I didn't hear anything else about wrestling. I've seen him since then, and he was working around here, and that was it. So until they send me that. So I call him. I'm like, "Hey, man, you're wrestling." I was like, "How?" And he's been doing it for the last year. He's been all over the country. So I was like, "Yeah, I want to go to this show." But, it's small time stuff. He's just starting, right? So it's these promotions. So I said, "I'll tell you what, I'll be there. I'll be there on Friday." To get to that, for anybody that listens to these shows, my announcing days are over for the season. The local high school that I announced, they lost in the state semifinals today, I believe, to the number one team. So that's a sad deal, but I was in Oklahoma City for that. And I don't really want to go into the game, but anybody who's local, it was just exciting to watch them. And then it's kind of heartbreaking when they make it that far. And to be honest, even though they played a team that beats everybody by 25 points, and they lost by 9, I think they just had it in them. I believe they had it in them I think that team could be beat by our team anyway. So whatever, right? That's how the day went. So good luck congratulations on the season. I guess it's not good luck on the season. The season's over. But it was it's sad. There's a girl that's been really good for a long time, and she's moving on now. So whatever. Side note. Now here's where we're going. So the game gets out at 3:00.
I've been trying to get this piece of hair out of my mouth since that episode started, and I got it. So if you're looking at the video, I got the hair, guys. So
I've been plotting this out. Now, what you don't know is Leighton, he's a wrestling fan. I've heard him talk. I mean, you're
real wrestling, not the singlets.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, not the singlets, I guess.
The real wrestling.
So he's into pro wrestling. He's watched this as a kid. And I used to watch it when I was a kid, too, when I was a little kid. Hulk Hogan. You go down the list. Jimmy Superfly Snuka, Iron Sheik, like those days, like those people.
The golden era.
Yeah, that's what Ted DiBiase. Just any name you throw out. Kamala was there. And I didn't realize till I went back and looked at Wikipedia. Kamala he really wasn't in the WWE that long. Well, back then it was WWF. WWF. Anyway, so I'm talking about wrestling here because anyway, let me just.
It'll tie in.
I'm too excited to get to the story, but I feel like I got to give a backstory, you know, so I watched it as a kid. Leighton's watched it further than a kid.
But reason being is I grew up watching it with my grandpa. Like that was our bond, and not to get dark, but I didn't have a father, so he was my father figure. That's how we bonded, and we would watch it I can't remember what days it came on back then, but it came on 2 times a week, and we watched it all the time. He passed away, so, the sentimental part, I watch it occasionally.
Yeah, well, and I don't, but I watched as a little kid for all those, and then I moved into, a Stone Cold Steve Austin and, the guy from Tulsa.
Goldberg.
Yeah, Goldberg. I watched them because
the greatest wrestler of all time, by the way.
We used to have Monday night football parties, and somehow, for that 1 year, it shifted to Monday night Raw parties. Yep. For however that happened, we quit watching football and started watching Monday Night Raw. I don't know how that happened, but anyway, that's my backstory to wrestling. I just now gave you the previous. My cousin wants to get into it because he always watched it, so he tells me he's doing it. I didn't tell Leighton about it. Honestly, it didn't hit me till I thought, if I can make it back from Oklahoma City, because that's where the girls played in the state game, I might as well call Leighton because I know he's a wrestling fan. And my daughter was already going to stay the night with your daughter tonight anyway. So I was like, I might as well call him, just make it this is a family event.
Yeah.
But the reason I didn't call him is because I didn't know if I was going to make it. But once I figured out, I was like, hey, you want to go? He's like, yeah. So I was all fired up. Now that I've unpacked all that, I don't know what we're driving to. I know we're not going to a big TV promotion. I know that. It's going to be small time. And I had watched a few things on YouTube for some small stuff. And by the way, what's very sad is I missed Javi's special. It's out, by the way. Yes. Javi Luna, Not For Everybody special came out today at 7:30.
Go watch it.
Yeah, you can find it on YouTube. It was like the premiere where everybody could watch it in one shot. So it's tonight. Go check it out. So I get there. Well, I drove through the appropriate speed.
Oh yeah. So just to verify, because I know Lloyd has got on here a couple times saying that he's the road captain. People call him that. And if you don't, then you don't know what you're talking about. I can vouch for him that he is the guy to drive. He's the road captain.
Yeah. Well, there was one iffy moment driving on the way there. It was an iffy moment.
Iffy is definitely the right term to use.
And for the sake of hometown people, I'm not going to say what I called every person walking on the highway, because to be honest, I'm just not going to. But I don't know. I was driving too close to the thing, and semi slammed on his brakes. There
was like an accident or something that popped up on the GPS. But it was like just a sudden thing. Like we were just going smoothly. We saw a guy walking, and then that's when.
Yeah. I was like, yeah, there's Lucky. So anyway, like it got I about hit him, and I almost rear-ended the semi.
Hard.
But what's funny though is apparently the whole car, their heart skipped a beat, according to everybody in the car, Leighton, the girls. And they kept saying it. And I remember thinking after the fact, because everybody's like, oh my gosh, I got scared. I never batted an eye.
Well, he didn't bat it. I was nervous because he was commenting on the person on the side of the road. And so I was laughing, but I looked back at the road before he did. And I froze because he's a road captain and I didn't want to tell him how to drive. But then I froze. Then I realized that he didn't see it yet. And then he realized it and then stopped.
Yeah, so it was an exciting moment. We were pushing time. We had to drive there. This thing started at 6:30 and we needed nothing to slow us down. Yep. So, I speed it up. Anyway, so I drive and I get off at Locust Grove. I'm going to Tahlequah for anybody. It's outside of Tulsa, Oklahoma for the rest of the world, but for any locals, So I get off the Cherokee Turnpike. I'm about to get on Tahlequah, the 2-lane road going to Tahlequah. And I told Leighton, I'm like, all right, we can make it, but this is a 2-lane road and people drive slow and we're going to get stuck. Well, I pass a couple of cars. And then there's just a string of them, and there's this car. The speed limit's 65, and this person's doing 53 miles an hour.
Yeah.
You can't do 53 miles an hour around there. People want to do physical harm to people around there for driving that slow. And then, I'm just locals would have tried to attempt to pull them over. That was just infuriating. So I'm just driving behind them. Well, I got to be there, and this big show's happening. Well, I can't take it anymore. I finally get a straightaway. To be honest, I don't even think it was a passing lane, but I had enough of it. And so I passed 3 cars at one time. And it turns out the minivan driving 53 and a 65, they had California plates.
Yeah, shocker.
Yeah, so they probably thought they were native country. Listen, man. I'm from around there, and I'm Indian, so I'm gonna say it. And I don't feel they're probably looking for teepees or something stupid like that because they're from California. And they're like, there may be a teepee out here somewhere. We're in the Cherokee Nation. I don't. So I pass them, and when I look behind me, because I never actually looked behind me because I was just staring 3 cars ahead with all fury. Why is this car driving 53 and a 65? I didn't realize till I passed them. I looked in my rearview mirror. There are probably 25 cars behind that one white minivan.
Yeah, it was very, very frustrating.
Yeah, with California police.
Shout out to our California listeners. We love you.
Yeah, do the speed limit. We don't live in actually drive like you drive in LA.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah, it's just if it's not bumper to bumper rush hour traffic in LA and the speed limit 60, everybody drives 95 miles an hour. So I don't. But anyway, so we pull up. And remember, I'm trying to make time here. This is just right on time stuff. And we're driving to the streets of Tahlequah, and a Cherokee Marshal gets behind me. Well, now I can't even run stoplights. No, well, not run stoplights, but if it's yellow, if it's questionable, like a yellow light, maybe drive a little faster or whatever. Can't do it. I got a Cherokee Marshal. I'm driving 25 miles an hour, and now remember, I assume I know what I'm driving into. I know that this is going to be a lower budget wrestling show, and it's fine. It was some kind of community building there in Tahlequah. So we pull in the parking lot. I look around. I'm like, I don't know, probably 40 people in there. That's what I think. So we walk in to the front door, and this is how it goes. Like, this is my first experience. I'm gonna try to give it to you here. When I walk in the front, and by the way, I don't think I'm fancy. I don't think I'm better than anybody. It has nothing to do with that. But I'm saying, I mean, in a nice way. I'm actually being respectful when I'm trying to say this. I walk in and I don't know, 70% of the crowd looks like they were in the People of Walmart photos, right? So, but it's fine. Like I'm here too. Like I'm here supporting. And then and I noticed. Now, here's the part where I'm going to be touchy just for a second, because when I tell the rest of the story, you need to know this, because I don't in any way want anybody who listens to think I'm making fun of certain people, mentally handicapped people. I'm not at all. As a matter of fact, this is why I'm going to give you the backstory, just so people know, because people who actually know me know.
Yeah.
People all around the world, you don't know. You have no idea how I grew up.
Yep.
There used to be a nursing home across the street from my house, and it wasn't the nursing home with the older people. It was the nursing home with mentally challenged people, and some of them, just, honestly, like some of them were crazy too. It was like, and I would go visit every day when I was a kid. Every day I would go visit those kids as a child. I mean, for years I did. My mom was a 25-year multi-handicap teacher in school. I've been to mentally handicapped dances. I've been to the Special Olympics. I've been, and I've helped out with all that. I'm just giving you the backstory before I start saying, because I don't need anybody thinking that I'm making fun. And as a matter of fact, it kind of warms your heart when you're in the middle of the moment.
Yes.
So when I tell these stories, I'm just giving it to you because I don't want to hear it by anybody later. So we walk in, and when I do, there's a lot of mentally handicapped people in the thing. So whoever their caretakers are, probably brought them all there, and they're all sitting around the ring, and it's cool, and they're excited, and so that's it. So we walk around and we sit down, and we're in the crowd. So I never been to this thing, and we were really analyzing, right? I actually thought it was pretty cool just walking out. I thought it was cool how it was set up. I thought it was cool how it looked. It was how I imagined it.
Yep.
The only difference in my imagination, I thought there would have been chairs around all four sides of the ring, but there were just chairs in front of three. So this promoter comes up, and now the promoter, now I am going to go a little more in depth with these guys.
Yeah.
This guy looked like this guy looked like he owned adult shops in 5 states. And
he really did. He really did.
He's like, welcome to the UWE. You just had to see him, he looked like a special guy. And it's not like you're walking into a WWE show where everybody knows the backstories. Yep. So they're trying to give you the story, just so you know what you're getting into. And there were, 2 or 3 world championship matches or whatever. Now remember, my cousin's on this show.
Yep.
So, and I knew what match he was. He told me he was the 3rd match. Like I knew that. So I'm just watching the production. But when here's what I thought was like, I didn't know who we were supposed to boo.
Yeah, that was even for me, it's hard to know going in when you don't know any background story of who the heel is and who you boo for.
Right, who you're supposed to boo. because I think we missed it.
Yeah, we definitely did.
I think we missed it on a couple of matches,
Yeah.
like who you were supposed to boo.
Yeah.
Like who you were supposed to cheer. I didn't know. I did we get it right on the first one?
No.
Oh, well, yeah. Oh, so the world tag team champions come out, and they're two very large guys. They're about 5'7", but they weigh about 4'10".
Lloyd's being extremely nice.
I'm just saying. So they walk out and they got purple unitards.
Yeah.
Right? They're unitards, like the one suit. Is that what it's called?
Yeah, if you call that.
Is that what you call them? Unitards, one
Yeah.
suit.
Yep.
Yeah, but it showed all their lady lumps. It showed
They're voluptuous.
Yeah. So and then they were called Southern aristocracy. Aristocracy.
Yeah.
I believe so.
Yeah.
They
It
were
was like Louisiana vibe because he was saying stuff from.
Did they walk out
that.
with the belts? Did they already have the belts?
Yes.
Anyway, so like they start wrestling, but you can't be that agile. These guys are kind of big, and I'm not saying they weren't good wrestlers. I don't know anything about wrestling. I'm just saying that I was like, if one of those guys tripped, he was going to roll to Salina. That's what I thought, and so I didn't. I mean, it was one of those deals. Well, they won the match, and then they won the belts, and we're like, how did these guys win the match? We were booing them.
Yeah.
And I think we were not supposed to boo those guys.
No. The girls who got their shirt, that's who we were cheering for. So we were supposed to boo them.
Okay, yeah, because those.
But they
seem to be the good
they
guys.
really got booed at the end of the match. Nobody really did anything at the beginning of the match. That's why we were like, do we cheer? Do we boo? At the end, when they won, that's when everybody really booed them because the other two guys are the good guys, I guess.
Yeah, so they had merch. They were selling merch here.
Yeah.
Which is, the wrestlers, the way it works in that world, they bring their own merch. It's not like there's some kind of cut and somebody else makes it. So, our daughters, their favorite wrestler was Cappuccino Jones, and his partner was Reese.
Yeah, Reese.
Romeo.
Yeah.
It was Reese Romeo or Romeo Reese. It was Romeo Reese.
Yeah.
Yeah, his name was Romeo Reese, and he was supposed to, I don't know, be some kind of sexy guy that combs his hair and
Yeah, he had like a mirror and he would brush his hair.
Yeah, but anyway, we were going for them, but Cappuccino Jones stole all the hearts.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that's it. Like I don't have to take you through all the matches. The point is, and the part that got funny was that the very first guy, my daughters thought they were really hurting each other. And what you don't know is, I don't know, for lack of a better term, my youngest daughter, she's a worrywart.
Yeah.
Like over the top.
Yeah.
We're just like, is he okay? Is he going to be okay? She's like, Daddy, are they really hitting each other?
Yeah, she was super nervous.
Yeah, and she was like biting her fingernails. And because when they came out, it's a small venue. There was only, they had a couple of bleachers that were like 5 bleachers high, but then there were just a couple rows deep with chairs.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there wasn't a bad seat. They're all right in front of you. Well, when fans are booing, saying stuff, like when that guy walked out, they're yelling back at the crowd, but I thought people were planted because right when this guy came out, a lady flipped him off and was like cussing at him.
Yeah.
And I was like, it's got to be part of the show.
Yeah. That's
I learned later in the night.
Yeah.
She wasn't part of the show.
We talked about that on the way home. Like, I as well thought she was like a plant and then realized later she definitely was like a hardcore super fan.
Yeah, she was just, I'm like, well, that's a little intense.
Yeah.
So this guy, and I wasn't mouthing. I wasn't mouthing when I said people of Walmart. I'm just trying to give you a mental picture of like if you weren't there, because then the wrestlers up there and like fans are yelling from the top and like, you suck, and he's like you suck. He's like, you don't even have any teeth.
Yeah.
And then this guy who's basically about to be the center point of the rest of the story.
Yep.
He's sitting to my right and behind me, probably 8 feet away. And then he says something to the guy in the ring. And then he said something like, he's like, shut your mouth, Temple of Doom, Boulder? What did he call him?
You look like a Temple of Doom boulder from Indiana Jones.
Yeah, he looks like the boulder from Temple of Doom.
Yeah.
That's what he yelled. And in my head, because the guy was a bigger guy, like, unhealthy big and kind of round, I thought, well, that was a little rude.
That was a little harsh.
No, I mean, right now, you're like, oh, you said the guy's going to roll this line. Yeah, he's part of the show. You know, like they wanted you to interact, but he's yelling this to the fans. I'm like, what if this guy's low self-esteem?
Yeah, no kidding.
Like, what? I couldn't believe that they were yelling that, but I guess he said you suck. And I mean, whatever.
Oh, he yelled something else funny that is not family appropriate, but it was actually hilarious. So they were giving it back to us if you were to talk to them.
Yeah. So what I did know when it started, because people weren't cheering. I mean, some people were, but they wanted crowd interaction. So it took me about half a match to figure that out, and then I just started yelling the whole time, just screaming and cheering for people. Anyway, so let's get because the best match. Oh, it was intermission after that match.
Yeah.
All right. So let's go there. So my cousin is wrestling in this thing. Is Cade Fight. That's his name and his wrestling name. I think he's the only one that does that.
Yep.
So he comes out and I'm excited. Like, oh, it's my cousin. He's a part of the bad guys. Mm-hmm. So they're booing him. So I also booed my own cousin when he came out, because I guess that's what you're supposed to do. And because I asked him, like, on the way there, I call, just try, can we get in? When's it going to start? Where do I get tickets? Cash only? That stuff. So I was asking him. And so I said, so I know you already told me you're the bad guy. I was like, do I cheer for you? Do I boo? He's like, I don't care which one. I'm like, yeah, but which one do I do?
Yeah.
Because I'm going there to go for you. And he's like, just boo me. It's fine. So I'm like, okay. So he came out and I was like, ah!
You suck.
Yeah. Which is weird because that's why I was there, but I was booing him coming in. And it was too loud to say the things I wanted to say.
Yeah.
And so I didn't say those things yet. But, I watched him. I was actually impressed.
Yeah.
Because and I'm not just saying that because I'm related to him. I think he took the most big falls and they slung him all over the mat, and he did some cool moves himself.
Yep.
Now, he did act like he was going to body slam the largest guy on the show. Yeah, by far the largest guy on the show. And he got him and I'm like, is he going to body slam him? And I'm not sure if this really matters or maybe is even appropriate, but my cousin Cade's a vegan. So and in my head, I think... I don't know, I'm not a bodybuilder, but in my head, I think you shouldn't be a vegan if you're going to be a bodybuilder. And I'm just saying, if you're going to build enough muscle to body slam that guy, I was about to turn vegan is what I'm telling you. I was like, if Cade picks that guy up, I'm turning vegan after this show, like right now. And, well, it turns out those were just, those were pretends. Yeah. Because in my head, I'm like, there's no way he's going to body slam this guy. No, he didn't. As a matter of fact, the guy reversed it and picked up my cousin and body slammed him. But he took it, pretty hard. Yeah. Those kicks to the face, I was actually very impressed. And when you watch these shows, here's the thing. Remember, I said my daughter was nervous and like, is he hurt? Is he okay? And then she started to come out of it like middle of the second match, and then when my cousin was there, they're like, this is not real.
Yeah.
But they were really slapping each other in the face and the chest.
Like hard.
Yeah, like for real hard. Like, yeah. It's a fight in real life if you slap me like that.
Yes.
And so I'm like, and I was like, well, do you think that's fake? And she's like, I don't think that would hurt. I'm like, if I slapped you in the chest as hard as I could, you don't think that would hurt? You can, it slaps. And so these guys got welts on them.
Yeah.
So that's really happening. But she was like, but she started to stress less when she just figured out it was a show. And I'll close it out at the end with her thoughts.
Yeah.
But so she started to enjoy it more. Anyway, point is, he lost.
Yep.
Like they got beat.
Yeah.
But it was a show. And somewhere in there, You know, I yelled to him, "You're built like a vegan." I was like, "You're built like a vegan." And right now, if you're like, "Why are you talking about vegans?" Man, it's on his Instagram. It's like Cade Fight vegan. Like that's what it is. As a matter of fact, if you listen to this show and you've watched pro wrestling one time in your life, you know, hit his Instagram up because I'm pretty excited.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, he don't know it. I'm going to help this guy get merch.
Yeah, it was awesome.
We're getting merchandise.
Yep.
Yeah, there's going to be some Cade Fight shirts running around this thing. And he had one Cade Fight shirt.
His only one.
Yeah, and you know, he gave it to me, but I want to tell this out of succession. I told all that story.
Yes.
There's an intermission.
Yes.
There's only 5 matches, by the way, so it's weird that there was an intermission. But
Yeah.
but they did that so you could walk around and buy merch and buy. So they had a little concession stand. And they had a lemonade stand. And if you bought a lemonade for $1, you got a ticket. And that ticket would they gave away an autographed poster with all the wrestlers' signatures and the promoters and the referee that looked like Malibu's Most Wanted, but the Walmart what People of Walmart version.
Yeah.
And he was the referee. Well, so at the intermission, I walk up to the concession stand. Now remember, I drove straight from Oklahoma City. I haven't eaten all day. I'm starving. I'm thirsty. But I wanted to watch the matches. So I got up at intermission, walk over there. Leighton, you walk over there with me?
Yeah, I was standing there and you walked up to me and you're like, "Bro, are you getting something to eat?"
And the reason I asked is because they had a jar of pickles that I know they were just reaching their hand in there, grabbing the pickle. I know
barehanded.
I guarantee it. They were just. It was just a jar of pickles. I don't know, man. If that opening in that jar of pickles was wider, they'd have bobbed for pickles to get them out. And so, like they got the. So I didn't really want that. And then the other ones, they had nachos and Frito chili pies. Either way, the nachos and the Frito chili pies. You guys know that skanky baseball game cheese?
Yeah.
Because it's not real cheese.
No.
And it's not even Velveeta. It's that nasty.
Yes.
I'll tell you this. I've said it before on a podcast, but just to let you know what that cheese is or how it holds up. We used to go to these NASCAR events, and the cousin to the guy would go, Brandon Hill. I would go with Brandon Hill. His cousin was a record driver, and whenever there would be wrecks or anything like that with merchandise, they'd scrap it because it was just insurance money.
Yep.
So people would just take it. And so he had like 50 bags of that nasty baseball game cheese, and they were using it as pillows at NASCAR, and it set in the back of the trailer, and it was like 100 degrees, but it never goes bad.
Yeah.
That's not real cheese. That's disgusting. I don't even know what it is. It's not even real food. It's just chemicals and just
so nasty.
Anyway, that was the cheese they had at the place. And then I saw like 3 open cans, 5-gallon, 10-gallon cans of Hormel chili. So whenever you ordered chili, cheese, nachos, or Frito chili pies, they were just putting a spoon in it and slopping it on your plate.
Yeah.
That is the backstory of. I was like, Leighton, are you going to eat this?
Yeah. And I was like, there's no way I'm eating this food.
But there was an entire line full of people just waiting to get it.
And I was hungry too. I was actually starving. And I was like, there's no shot I'm eating any of this.
Yeah, like, I got to get that chili cheese. So, all right. So,
yes, we're standing at the line.
I'm standing there with my arms folded. We're discussing whether I want this food, but we're not in line, but we're right beside the line. So the people in line, well, I noticed there's a guy staring at me just out of the corner of my eye.
Yep.
And I look and I'll say he's a mentally handicapped guy. I didn't know that yet. I didn't know that yet. And so a bigger guy, because remember that's the wrestler mouthed him from the stage.
Yes.
And so I look at him. I was like, "How are you?" And I said, "How are you?" And his response was, "I like candy bars."
Like within us, I don't even know if Lloyd even got the full sentence out before he just said, "I like candy bars."
And so I was like, "Okay." I was like, and then I just was talking back with Leighton, and I maybe I said, "Oh, I didn't say anything yet." And I'm talking to Leighton, and then I look, and he's still staring at me.
Yeah.
So I look, and I was like, I said, "What do you think, man?" He's like, "I like candy bars."
Yeah.
I'm like, "Well, get one, man." And he said, he's like, "I don't have any money."
Yeah.
So I'm like, "Okay." But because he said, "I like candy bars" twice, and then he said, "I don't have any money," I started to see that he was slower. So I didn't know, because there was those people that brought him there and were taking care of him. So I said, "Well, who did you come with?" And the reason I asked that was because I don't know if he's supposed to eat candy. I don't know, like, if I'm going to get yelled at by some nurse, which I would have said, "What are you doing, lady?" Letting him walk over here, telling everybody, "I like candy bars." So I said, so I asked, like, who you would say? Myself.
Yeah.
There's no way.
No, Lord, you even said, "You came here by yourself?" And he was like, "Yep."
Yeah, I still think I'm going to get yelled at by a nurse or whatever. And so, so I'm like, "All right." Well, I was like, "Well, you want one?" He's like, "Yep." And I said, my daughters were in line.
Yeah.
I said, "Well, what do you want?" And so I named off because I could see what they had. It's like, "You want Snickers, Twix, Reese's?" Reese's!
Yeah.
So I said, "Bella, get him a Reese's."
Yeah.
Get this guy a Reese's.
ASAP.
Yeah. So she ordered, and he gave him a Reese's, and
he was pumped. Like you could, he was pumped.
yeah, he's like, he's like, "I got a Reese's."
Yeah,
and
he was so happy.
Yeah, and he took off running.
Yeah.
So then I further thought, is he going to hide that in the bathroom because he's not supposed to eat the Reese's?
Yeah.
So, but that's it for this part of the story for that guy. So he walks off. And then, because I'm still assessing with Leighton, I'm like,
what just
am I going to get yelled at?
Yeah.
Like, because I'm not real. So what you didn't know is when I was a little kid, I've told it on the podcast before, but when I was a kid and I would go to that nursing home where they had the mentally handicapped people, there was this guy, and his name was Gail. And Gail would always stand out on the front porch with a fishing pole, but he never had any line, and he was fishing in like the tiny puddles from when it rained 3 days ago.
Yeah.
And he would be, there's no lure or line.
Yeah.
And so I'd be like, and all he would ever say all the time, I'm like, "What's up, Gail?" And he'd go, "You got any fishing line?" That's what he would say. And I'm like, "Yeah, well, Dad fished." So I'm like, "Yeah, I'll be right back." I brought him fishing line all the time. And then I walked fast forward like a month or two, and I walk into the thing because he asked me for fishing line again. I'm like, "Yeah." So I'm sure Dad's like, "Where's all my fishing line going?" So I walk in the door with fishing line, like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa!" The nurses, they're like, "What? Like, what are you doing with that?" I'm like, "Gail said he needs fishing line." He's like, "He can't have fishing line. We've taken all of it from him." So I'm like, I don't know what he's doing the fishing line, but they wouldn't let him have it. I didn't know, I was like feeding him fishing line this whole time.
Yeah.
So that's what I thought. That's why I was like, I'm going to get yelled at about the candy bar. Well, anyway, so I decided I didn't want anything. And then true that kind of fashion, I was like, I'll just take a water. And like, yeah, we don't have any more waters. So all they had was pops, candy, and the nachos that they're going to give you, if you eat two of them, you'll have a heart attack by midnight.
And handheld pickles.
Hand dipped pickles. That's what they had.
Yeah.
So I'm like, so I walked back over. So we walked back over in the bleachers. I didn't know where you went. I was like, "Where's Leighton?" And he went to use the bathroom.
Yeah.
And I was about to pee my pants at this time. And so Leighton walks up. He said, "What?"
You're like, "Hey, I'm gonna run to the restroom too," and I was like, "Well, beware of stall number 2 because it just has a big dump left in it. Nobody flushed it."
And I was like, "Leighton,
Yeah.
look around this building. Like, did you think that you were walking into a Buc-ee's?"
Yeah.
Like,
and I literally shrugged my shoulders and I said, "Good point, Lloyd."
I mean,
good point.
Now I'll just say it. To be honest, that bathroom was a lot cleaner than I thought it was going to be.
Yes.
Because when you said that, I'm like, I bet people just peed all over everywhere.
No, I've been in dirtier bathrooms for sure.
So it was fine as far as that went. But I went and sat down. But now remember, I bought this guy a Reese's. Yes. I didn't know I made a new best friend yet.
Oh, yeah. Oh, boy, did you.
I didn't know. Well, so I don't know. I've just, I found out my cousin is wrestling. It's a new promotion or it's maybe not a new promotion. It's new for me. So I don't know any of the wrestlers.
Yeah.
I don't know any pro wrestlers on TV.
Mm-hmm.
But this guy's favorite wrestler was somebody named Fuel. So when we come over, I actually, when I first walked over, he's like, "I got a candy bar." That's what he said. That's what he yelled. And then I was like, "That's awesome, man." And so he came over and he said he likes Fuel, but he's like, "Fuel's my favorite wrestler."
Yeah.
So I mean, just they started like they restarted, and these guys, is Fuel coming out? I was like, I don't know. I think he is, man. I was like trying to get him pumped up. It wasn't even Fuel's turn to wrestle yet. So it was like somebody else. He's, oh, man. So he's booing even the good people.
Yeah, anybody that wasn't Fuel.
Yeah, because Fuel hadn't came out yet, and he was expecting. Even the good people, he's booing them. He's like, you suck. Where's Fuel?
Yeah.
So he told me, he's like, Fuel's going to be so excited. He don't even know I'm here.
Yeah.
So I'm like, well, I hope he is. And I don't know, because I don't know how many of these shows they do in Tahlequah.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Maybe Fuel knows the guy, like or whatever. So fast forward through that match. I feel like the best match was my cousin's, like hands down. Like I actually do. Well, so now it's this last match. And what he said was, he's like, Isaac, when they start that music, I'm going to know Fuel's coming.
Yeah, he was like, y'all going to see me jump up and down.
When they start Fuel's music.
Yeah.
So the last match. It's the last match of the night. And they start the music. And
he looks at both of us and goes, is that Fuel?
Is that Fuel's music?
Yeah. We're like, we don't know. Like, you just told us.
Yeah, you're the fan, man.
Yeah.
So like he was like, Fuel, he's gonna be so excited. He knows I'm here. So Fuel walked out and he like ran through little kids at the first little table and was trying to high five. He's like, Fuel! Now the whole place is booing him because apparently
the entire place is booing him.
What apparently he doesn't know is that Fuel has turned to a bad guy.
Yes, he has turned heel.
Fuel is a bad guy, but he's the champion.
Yes.
But he's now a bad guy. And so he's mad at everybody booing Fuel.
I at one point he looks at me confused because I'm like, boo, and then he like looks and I'm like, go Fuel.
Yeah, every time he would look at me, I was like, come on, Fuel. Yeah, I was going for Fuel there. But he's like, Fuel, you my favorite wrestler. And Fuel looked at, because he was very intense about it.
And just to put it in perspective, the ring is small. There's like a card playing table, and then boom, there's him. So there's only like a 4-foot space between the super fan and the ring / wrestler. Just to put it in perspective.
But even though he was the bad guy, he had one major fan.
Yes.
So he turned around and he pointed at him.
Yeah.
Like yeah, brother, like that kind of point.
And that lit his world up.
Oh, he was yeah! Fuel's my guy.
Yeah.
And he's looking at me, he's like, yeah, did you see? He Fuel's my guy. I'm like, yeah. And like he was two-fisting. You can see it on YouTube, but he was like really pumped up. Well, they're still introducing people. Fuel's in the ring. He's still screaming at Fuel.
At the top of his lungs.
He's like, you need me, Fuel. He's like, you need me, got your back. And so, but he kept yelling it. So Fuel from the ring, just trying to appease the guy. He didn't hear him. The super fan didn't hear him.
Yeah.
But he turned around and he's like, I might need your help in 10 minutes. Well, that guy didn't hear what he said. He's like, you need my help, Fuel, because he kept yelling it. So I was like, no, I said, he just said he may need your help in 10 minutes. He doesn't need it now. I'm now the person taking care of him. I don't even know where these people are at. It's me. And I'm like, no, I was like, no, not yet. But I was like, he said he might need you in 10 minutes. And immediately he took his glasses off and put them in his pocket. He's like, I'm ready when you're ready, Fuel.
Yeah.
So
like ripped his glasses off his face, folded them up and stuffed them in his pocket. And then he looks at Lloyd. He's looking at me like, he's like, if he calls my name, boys, I'm running in there.
And I got to be honest, at this point, I don't actually know because I don't know where his mental level is. I don't know. So I don't know if he's just being a super fan and watches wrestling and like gets the gig. I didn't know yet. I know that he was just he was very excited, but I don't know what he knows yet. Well, so he's like real pumped up, but and And I know he kind of probably thinks he's going to get in the ring possibly to help Fuel.
No.
But that's not where I'm going with that
Okay,
yet.
he 100% thought.
Yeah, but I'm saving it for the end because that's when I realized, like, oh, gosh.
Yes.
Yeah, so, anyway, during the match, Fuel's getting...
He's up against these two massive guys.
Yeah, it's like 1-on-2.
Yeah.
It was actually everybody versus everybody, but since he was the champion, they teamed up on him.
Yes.
So our guy's going insane. He's like, Fuel, you need me, Fuel!
Yeah, and every time Fuel got slung across the ring, outside of the ring, I mean, you just saw his heart break.
He's like, come on, Fuel, get up! You got it, Fuel!
And every time Lloyd would yell something about Fuel... our friend would repeat exactly what he said, and so then I tried it, and I was like, Fuel, do something useful. And the guy goes, yeah, Fuel, do something useful.
Yeah, I did notice that when I was yelling, whatever I would yell, he would yell.
Yes.
So actually on that last match, my cousin came back out.
Yeah.
Now they didn't have a winner yet. No, I don't want. Don't let me jump. Don't let me jump. Let's just finish. Fuel got pinned.
Yes.
Fuel is out. He lost the match.
Yes. He lost his belt.
He lost the belt, and I don't think the guy fully comprehended yet that he just got beat. And I was like, oh my gosh, Fuel lost. I'm like, no, you can't lose, Fuel. Yeah. And what you also don't know, Fuel, I guess that was his last match since he got beat. He took his shirt off and laid it in the center of the ring.
Yeah.
I think that meant he retired.
Yep.
So I couldn't bring the guy. Anyway, so Fuel lost. The guy's like real upset, and because he was right beside me, and I'm like, Fuel just got beat. Well, then he just disappears. I'm still watching what's happening in the ring, and that's when Fuel stood up, and he took his shirt off and laid it in the center of the ring. This guy, the super fan, is behind me.
Yeah.
So I don't really know what's happening. And then I think you told me.
Yeah, because I was wondering where he went as well. So, and he was standing like right behind Lloyd, but right beside me. And so and he was sitting catty corner. So I turned around and
you're like, I think he's crying.
like, and I'm not making fun of him, but he like.
Well, you said I think he's crying, and I was like for real crying? Because remember, I don't.
Yeah.
I think if you're a wrestler, I know that he was mentally handicapped, but if you watch wrestling all the time,
they win and lose.
Yeah, I just didn't know. I didn't know what he knew. And you're like, no, he's like really crying. So I look, and I'm like, well, he does look like he's crying. And what's sad is his favorite wrestler just lost his championship belt, and he also is never going to wrestle again.
Yeah, and I don't even think that he knows that.
I know he doesn't know that.
Yeah.
I know he doesn't know that. And there's no way I was going to tell him.
No, I wasn't either.
Because when I turned around, he was for real crying.
Yes.
Then he gets up and he walks beside me. And I was trying to console him. I was like, you know what, man? I was like, sometimes wrestlers, they lose. I was like, but they come back stronger. I was like, so you don't got to be sad. I was like, Fuel will be back and he'll be way better. There was no talking to that guy. His world was crushed.
Oh yeah, yes, and I.
That was when I figured out
yes.
Oh, he doesn't. Yeah, and
this
is real.
My understanding of that same thing is I was walking my daughter back, and we are gonna wait on Lloyd and his cousin, and he was crying so hard, I heard noises, and I was like, because I was gonna say something to him, and I was like, I'm not gonna make him feel better. His world is torn apart right now. This is me when I was 5 years old when Goldberg lost.
But I wanted to. I was trying to cheer him up.
Yeah,
you couldn't talk to him.
Nope.
Yeah, this was serious stuff. So anyway, my cousin came back out. I'm sure what happened after that. They were, it was just trying to close the thing out. And I was yelling at my cousin. We have a mutual cousin named Dana.
Yeah.
And so, people that know me, you might have heard a story or two. But so I said, I was calling my cousin Kate. I was like, come on, Dana, fight. And I was yelling at him, come on, Dana, fight. And I was just trying to get a reaction out of him. But the only time he laughed was the second time he actually heard me.
Yeah.
When I was he's built like a vegan.
Yeah.
That's because his dad is into powerlifting now, and his stepmom's into powerlifting, and they're hardcore about it.
Yeah.
They even have state records.
Oh wow.
Yeah. and they're like, you gotta eat meat. If you're gonna power lift, you gotta eat meat. And so, and to be honest, after he didn't body slam that guy, that's why I'm like, Cade, you're gonna have to eat meat.
Yeah, if you would have ate a cheeseburger today, you probably could have slammed that guy.
Yeah, I was yelling at the wrestlers too.
Oh yeah, we're at one point. I don't know which one I yelled at, but I was like, "You suck!" And he like stood up on the ropes and pointed at me, and he was like, "No, you suck!" And then my daughter and his daughter were like, "Oh my gosh!"
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. So because I was gonna say it earlier. Well, I asked the girls. I'm like, "Did you like that?"
Yeah.
They legitimately thought it was. They loved it.
Yes, they had a blast.
And honestly, I had fun.
Yes, so did I.
It was exactly the wrestling show I thought that I was going to walk into. I didn't know if I was going to have fun or not. I thought it was like I'd go watch them again for sure.
Yep.
So
yeah, it was fun.
But I guess they're moving on to Alabama now. The next 2 or 4 months. What do you say? They're moving like Alabama.
I don't know how they split, but like part of the team's gonna be here in Barnesdall? Is that the town?
That is a town, but I didn't hear that. I didn't hear that part.
What's the town by? It doesn't matter. And I think they switched back between that location and the Tahlequah location, and then I believe some other wrestlers travel to a different turf, basically, for lack of a better term.
Well, I thought it'd be cool. To be honest, all I thought about the whole time, like I've never wanted to be in wrestling. I didn't want to do it then. Like physically, here's the thing, because there's people that say it's fake. Well, yeah, look,
it's not.
Is it choreographed? Sure. Are those guys really getting slammed and suplexed?
Yeah,
on boards.
Yeah.
I mean, the rings do have a lot of give, but it's still boards.
And they know how to fall to prevent like catastrophic injury, but it's still like it. I mean, you can see on their body, 15 seconds after the match ends, they're bruised up and they're red and all that.
Yeah. So Cade comes out, by the way, and he didn't have merch. That's why I was like, I'm gonna help him get this merchandise.
Oh yeah.
And he had one merchandise, but not really. It's the shirt he wore, and it said Cade Fight. And he gave it to me.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, I appreciate it. And I support him. You want to know why? Here's why I'm supporting him. Couple things with this. I always try to make jokes, but I'm not. When those guys are out there wrestling, it may be in somebody's nature out there to make fun of them. Like, oh, yeah, pro wrestler. And, like, make fun of them. But if you don't do those at that level, if you don't get on these little tiny circuits, and people are going to make fun of you. If you're not willing to endure that, you're never going to make it to the big. If you don't do it, you're never going to make it. Now, that doesn't mean that he's going to make it just because he's out there doing it, but you have zero chance to make it if you're not out there doing what they're doing.
Yep.
So, yeah, I support him 100%. And do I want anything out of it later? No. You want to know what I want of it? If he ever makes it to some kind of TV circuit, you want to know what? Tickets when he comes to town.
Oh, yeah.
That's all I want.
Yeah.
Tickets and take me backstage.
Yeah.
I don't need a cent. But yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
So that's a fun show. I would encourage you to get up. To be honest, I thought it was fun.
Yeah.
If it is wild, but you got to get out there and you got to start yelling stuff. I mean, I had nicknames for everybody out there.
Oh yeah. Yeah. If you just go when you don't want to be involved in it, you're not going to have fun. But if you just,
the wrestlers want you to do that.
Yes, they feed off of it.
Anyway, so just stay tuned. I don't know if you know, we're about to start a wrestling promotion.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Verdigris.
What are we going to call it?
Verdigris Valley Wrestling promotion. So.
Oh yeah, we'll come up with a name and tell you guys on the next podcast.
Oh, that's going to be good. Anyway, I mean, we'll get off here. Normally we tell other stories. It was just like the night. Like that's just what happened.
Yeah. It was kind of easy to tell about because it was a eventful night.
Yeah, somebody might have even zoned out after 50 minutes and didn't want to hear it, but it was really great.
Well, zone back in because that was a good one.
Yeah, zone back in your face and put Pete Rose in the Hall of Fame. And I know Leighton's like, Dwayne Wade. See, here's the thing. And then you don't have to say put Dwayne Wade in the Hall of Fame. He's going to get in the Hall of Fame. He's not a questionable guy. Pete Rose is. Nobody wants to hear that. I mean, yeah, he's going to the Hall of Fame. Or,
Fair enough.
yeah. So anyway, love everybody, and we'll talk to you later.